Throughout history, belief in a higher power has been a fundamental aspect of human culture, offering comfort in trying times and encouraging both personal and societal development. In the modern era, the right to religious freedom is a cherished principle, allowing individuals to adopt or reject spiritual beliefs as they choose. However, this freedom also entails a responsibility to ensure that these beliefs do not harm others or detract from the collective well-being. Today, we delve into a case that starkly illustrates the dangers of overstepping these moral boundaries. This narrative centers on a couple deeply influenced by a doomsday cult whose extreme actions have shocked the American public. Join us as we explore one of the most horrible criminal cases in recent American history, shedding light on the dark intersections of distorted faith and its catastrophic outcomes. This is a complicated case. To begin understanding the intricacies involved, take a look at this chart and remember it. Whenever you confuse, you can refer back to look at this again. This is Chad Guy Daybell. Chad was born on August 11, 1968, in Provo, Utah, into a devout Mormon family and grew up in Springville. He married Tammy Douglas in 1990 in Manti, Utah, and the couple had 5 children. After graduating from Brigham Young University with a BA in journalism, Chad worked as a cemetery sexton among other jobs. This particular role deeply influenced his later writings and beliefs, as daily interactions with the themes of death and the afterlife led him to explore apocalyptic and supernatural topics. In 2004, Chad and Tammy founded the Spring Creek Book Company, focusing on religious themes, particularly those concerning the end times. His work, heavily inspired by his claimed visions from 2 near-death experiences, often depicted apocalyptic scenarios. These experiences, he believed, gave him insights from beyond the veil, which he used to shape the narratives of his books. Chad became a controversial, yet quite famous figure within the Mormon community. He was an active contributor to Another Voice of Warning, a forum where he shared his prophetic visions and thoughts on future catastrophes, solidifying his status among those with an interest in eschatological themes. His unique insights and the dramatic nature of his subjects garnered a significant following, making him a well-known personality in his community. Lori Noreen Vallow Daybell, born on June 26, 1973, in Loma Linda, California, was raised in a devout Mormon family. Before her life took a controversial turn, Lori worked as a hairdresser and even participated in the Miss Texas beauty pageant in 2004. Lori's early life included multiple marriages. She was married 3 times before her marriage to Charles Vallow. From these marriages, she had 2 children, a son named Colby and a daughter named Tylee. Her complex marital history set the stage for her later involvement with Chad Daybell and the subsequent events that captured media attention. In February 2006, Lori married Charles Vallow in Las Vegas. The couple later adopted Charles' grandnephew, Joshua Jackson J.J. Vallow, who was diagnosed with autism. The family experienced several relocations, moving between Hawaii and Arizona over the years. Lori's life entered a more tumultuous phase around 2015, when she became deeply interested in radical religious beliefs, particularly influenced by Chad Daybell's apocalyptic writings. In October 2018, Lori met Chad at a Preparing a People's event, which focused on eschatological teachings. They believed they had been married in previous lifetimes and began a close and secretive relationship, marking the beginning of a series of mysterious and tragic events. After their first meeting, Lori Vallow Daybell's fascination with Chad Daybell deepened during a small gathering at her home, while her husband was away on a business trip. Chad shared his unique, Mormon-influenced beliefs, including reincarnation, a concept not recognized by the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. He claimed to have lived 31 different lives across various planets and categorized people as a light or dark, based on their spiritual alignment with either Jesus Christ or Satan. Chad referred to Laurie as an eternal being who had lived 21 separate lives, 5 of which overlapped with his, further captivating her with his narrative. On December 5, 2018, Chad and Laurie appeared on the Preparing a People podcast episode titled Time to Warrior Up, and subsequently featured in several other episodes. Around Chad's teachings, a religious group formed, including Laurie's niece Melanie Boudreau, Melanie Gibb, Laurie's brother Alex Cox, and his girlfriend Zulema Paysons. This group embraced the concept of the Church of the Firstborn, a term used in Mormon doctrine, but also by various splinter groups from the LDS Church to describe those sealed up in the end times. Chad predicted that the world would end in July 2020, a belief that led Laurie to see herself as an exalted goddess with visionary powers, destined alongside Chad to lead the 144,000 survivors of the apocalypse. Zulema Paysons later revealed that Laurie considered herself above earthly accountability due to her exalted status. Chad and Laurie also employed a scoring system to categorize individuals as inherently good or evil, and believed in the existence of zombies, or people possessed by evil spirits. Their group held castings to rid these spirits through prayer and scripture. According to their beliefs, the only way to free a zombie was through the person's death. They also believed in supernatural abilities like teleportation and dark and light portals, with Chad claiming he could create portals for spiritual interaction, receiving revelations, and traveling to other realms. In February 2019, Charles Vallow's relationship with his wife, Laurie, took a drastic turn when she claimed to be the reincarnated wife of Joseph Smith and disappeared for 58 days. During this period, Charles filed for divorce, citing threats to his life, Laurie's theft of $35,000 from their joint bank accounts, and the theft of his truck. Laurie had told him she was a god assigned to carry out work for the 144,000 at Christ's second coming in July 2020, and threatened to kill him if he hindered her mission. Despite filing for a protective order on his attorney's advice, Charles withdrew the petition a month later, hoping to reconcile and save their marriage. However, he remained deeply concerned about Laurie's behavior and changed his $1 million life insurance policy to name his sister Kay as the beneficiary instead of Laurie, a change Laurie did not discover until after his death. Text messages later found by Arizona police showed communications between Chad Daybell, Laurie, and her brother Alex Cox, using a code name for Charles, suggesting he was possessed by a dark spirit. Laurie had convinced members of her religious group that Charles had become a zombie, and some group members even prayed for his death. Charles discovered Laurie's affair with Chad Daybell and, 11 days before his death, emailed Chad's wife, Tammy Daybell, to inform her of the affair. Tammy read and deleted the message and blocked Charles's email. On July 11, 2019, when Charles went to Laurie's home in Chandler, Arizona, to pick up their adopted son JJ, an altercation occurred. Alex Cox shot and killed Charles, claiming it was in self-defense after Charles attacked him with a bat. Alex alleged he acted to protect Laurie from alleged abuse by Charles. Tylee, Laurie's daughter, witnessed part of the incident but left the house with JJ before the shooting occurred. Despite the circumstances, no charges were pressed. That day, neighbors reported a pool party at Laurie's house, seemingly unaffected by the morning's events. Alex Cox later remarked that he did not regret his actions, believing he had eliminated a zombie. Throughout these events, Charles's primary concern was reportedly for the safety and well-being of JJ, who required a consistent routine due to his autism. Charles was also worried about Tylee, but had no legal standing to act on her behalf, as he had not legally adopted her. On October 9, 2019, Tammy Daybell experienced a disturbing incident when a masked individual shot at her with what she believed was a paintball gun in her driveway. The gun did not discharge any projectiles, leading police to dismiss the event as a prank due to their inability to identify the assailant. Tragically, just 10 days after this incident, Tammy was found dead in her home. The initial assumption was that she died of natural causes. Chad Daybell, her husband, reported that she had gone to bed with a severe cough and had died in her sleep. Intriguingly, Chad had previously mentioned to neighbors that he envisioned Tammy dying before her 50th birthday. Tammy's funeral was hastily arranged and took place in Utah only 3 days following her death. This quick organization raised suspicions among some attendees, including the Gilberts, who noted Chad's businesslike demeanor and a lack of apparent grief. Heather Daybell, Chad's sister-in-law, also commented on Chad's unemotional behavior during the funeral. Following Tammy's death, Chad received significant life insurance payouts totaling approximately $430,000. Despite initial resistance from Chad and a lack of thorough examination by the coroner, Tammy's body was exhumed for autopsy on December 11th as part of a renewed investigation sparked by Chad's subsequent marriage to Lori Vallow. The autopsy, whose results were revealed during Lori's 2023 trial, concluded that Tammy had been asphyxiated by another person. Further investigation into Tammy's death uncovered suspicious activities surrounding the Daybell residence. Alex Cox's phone was traced near the Daybells' home on the day of the shooting attempt and again on the night of Tammy's death. Moreover, an AR-15 rifle, fitting the description of the weapon used in the supposed prank, was found at Cox's home. This rifle matched Tammy's description of the paintball gun, and it was suggested that it might have jammed or misfired during the incident. This, along with searches Cox conducted on the use of an AR-15, led prosecutors to their eyes that the weapon was real, and Cox was likely the shooter on both occasions. Alex Cox, a central figure in the troubling events surrounding Lori Vallow Daybell and Chad Daybell, died on December 12, 2019. His death was attributed to complications from blood clots and high blood pressure. The day before his passing, Cox had learned that Tammy Daybell's body was scheduled for exhumation, which seemed to have caused him considerable anxiety. Zulema Paysons, who was closely associated with Cox, later testified that he had expressed concerns about being set up as the fall guy by Lori and Chad. This statement indicated Cox's fear that he might be blamed for the various illegal activities and deaths linked to the Daybell case, highlighting the deep entanglements and suspicions within this group. Tylee Ryan was last seen on September 8, 2019, during a family trip to Yellowstone National Park, accompanied by her brother JJ, their mother Lori Vallow Daybell, and their uncle Alex Cox. The last known sighting of JJ was captured on a doorbell video on September 23, 2019, showing him playing with a friend. His presence was also confirmed the following day at Kennedy Elementary School in Rexburg, Idaho. The day after this sighting, Lori withdrew JJ from school, claiming she would homeschool him. In the wake of her children's disappearance, Lori continued to collect the Social Security survivor benefits, designated for the children following the deaths of their fathers. In October 2019, 2 Venmo payments were made from Tylee's account to her older half-brother, Colby Ryan, with messages expressing love. These were the last communications Colby received from Tylee. Although he received texts claiming Tylee was safe but too busy to talk, his growing concern intensified when his subsequent attempts to contact her remained unanswered. Disturbingly, Brandon Boudreaux and Melanie Gibb later testified that Lori and Chad Daybell believed that Tylee and JJ were possessed and had become zombies. Investigations by the FBI into Lori and Chad's communications revealed text messages discussing the children's supposed possession and referring to a perfectly orchestrated plan concerning the children. Additionally, text exchanges between Lori and Alex Cox discussed working on ZS, a term they used to refer to the children as zombies. These revelations painted a sinister picture of the circumstances surrounding the disappearance of Tylee and JJ Daybell. Chad Daybell and Lori Vallow quickly progressed in their relationship following the suspicious death of Chad's first wife, Tammy Daybell. Within days of Tammy's passing on October 19, 2019, Chad introduced Lori to close acquaintances as the woman he planned to marry. Observers noted their affectionate behavior, which was unusually overt compared to Chad's demeanor with Tammy. Chad and Lori were married in Hawaii on November 5, 2019, just 2 weeks after Tammy's death, and during the time when Lori's children, Tylee and JJ, were already missing, though their disappearance was not yet known to others. This rapid series of events raised suspicions, especially when it was discovered that Lori had been searching for wedding rings and dresses before Tammy's death. On November 26, 2019, police conducted a welfare check on JJ at Lori's home in Rexburg, Idaho, prompted by concerns from JJ's grandmother. Lori falsely informed the police that JJ was in Arizona with a family friend, Melanie Gibb.
So, we're here.
Yeah, this is a big mess. I just talked to the guy on the phone.
And what did he ask you?
He was just saying that he wanted to do a well check on JJ.
So, JJ would be where?
He's in Arizona.
Who's he with in Arizona?
He's with one of my friends in Arizona.
Oh. Oh, you got a notepad?
No? Oh, you want?
No. Come here. Mind if he comes in.
Oh,
So,
sorry.
who's the friend he's with?
My friend Melanie. Her son has autism. Her name's Melanie Gibb. I gave him all the information on the phone.
Okay, so he can call him.
Yeah.
Gibb contradicted Lori's claim, stating that JJ had not been with her for several months. The next day, police found Lori's home abruptly abandoned. By December 20, 2019, the Rexburg Police Department publicly announced that JJ and Tylee were officially missing and sought the public's assistance. The police also highlighted the potential connection between the children's disappearance and Tammy Daybell's suspicious death, declaring Lori and Chad as persons of interest. The case quickly gained national attention, shedding light on Chad and Lori's cult-like beliefs. Despite this, their attorney released a statement asserting Chad's role as a loving husband and Lori's devotion as a mother, promising that the allegations would be addressed in due course. Family members, including JJ's grandparents and Chad's brother, actively pleaded for the children's return, offering a $20,000 reward for information leading to their whereabouts. Meanwhile, Chad and Lori had relocated to a gated community in Princeville, Cowie, reportedly living off the life insurance money received after Tammy's death. In their relocation documents, Chad claimed they had no children, further complicating the mysterious and tragic case surrounding their actions and the fate of Tylee and JJ. From December 2019, law enforcement agencies ramped up their investigations into the disappearance of Lori Vallow's children, Tylee and JJ, as well as the death of Chad Daybell's previous wife, Tammy. During this time, Tammy's body was exhumed for further examination to determine the cause of death, as her initial passing had been deemed suspicious. On January 25, 2020, after locating Lori and Chad in Cowie, Hawaii, authorities served them with a court order. This order mandated that Lori physically produce Tylee and JJ within 5 days either to the Idaho Department of Welfare or the Rexburg Police Department. The following day, the police seized the couple's rental car and searched their townhome in Princeville, looking for any signs of the children or clues related to their disappearance. Further investigation led authorities to a storage locker in Rexburg that Lori had rented in October 2019. Inside, they found personal items belonging to the children, including clothing, bikes, and family photos, which Lori had left behind when she abruptly moved from Rexburg in November 2019. Surveillance footage from the storage facility showed Lori and her brother, Alex Cox, moving items in and out of the locker prior to her departure. This discovery added more pieces to the troubling puzzle of the children's whereabouts and the couple's sudden departure from Idaho. On February 20, 2020, Lori Vallow was arrested in Hawaii by the Cowie Police Department. She was charged with 2 felony counts of desertion, and non-support of dependent children, and 3 misdemeanors, reflecting serious concerns over the well-being of her missing children, Tylee and JJ. Initially, her bail was set at $5 million, but was later reduced to $1 million after her extradition to Idaho. In May 2020, Lori appeared in a Rexburg courtroom to request a further reduction in her bail, but the court denied her request. Adding to her difficulties, multiple local bond companies reportedly refused to work with her, complicating her legal strategy. Following Lori's arrest, Chad Daybell returned to Idaho. He reached out to acquaintances, the Gilberts, attempting to persuade them to use their home as collateral for Lori's bail, claiming that this idea was divinely inspired by Jesus. During a confrontation about the children's whereabouts, when Alice Gilbert pressed him about his previous statement that Lori's daughter Tylee was dead, Chad dismissed it as a custody issue and made remarks about Tylee in the past tense, suggesting she was no longer alive. This behavior raised further suspicions about his and Lori's involvement in the children's disappearance. On June 9th, police discovered human remains buried in what appeared to be a pet cemetery on Chad Daybell's property during a search. Chad was arrested later that day for obstruction or concealance of evidence and was later charged with felony murder, with his bail set at $1 million the following day. The decision to search Daybell's property was based on data from Alex Cox's cell phone. On September 9, 2019, the day after Tylee's last confirmed sighting, Cox's phone activity was tracked from Lori's home in the middle of the night to Chad's home the next morning. Similarly, on September 23, the day after JJ was last seen, Cox's phone pinged at Daybell's property. A text conversation on September 9 between Chad and his then-wife Tammy raised suspicions. Chad texted Tammy that he had shot a large raccoon and buried it in their pet cemetery, which was peculiar since raccoons are usually nocturnal. On June 10, the families of Woodcock and Ryan confirmed that the remains found on Chad's property were those of Tylee and JJ. The police officially confirmed this identification on June 13. The condition of the remains indicated gruesome details. Tylee's body had been burned and dismembered, while JJ's body was found wrapped in plastic, carefully buried under rocks and wooden planks. JJ had been asphyxiated with a plastic bag sealed with duct tape over his mouth. Although Tylee's cause of death could not be definitively determined due to the state of her remains, it was ruled a homicide by unspecified means. Evidence linked Alex Cox and Lori Vallow to the crime, with Cox's fingerprints and Lori's hair found on the duct tape used on JJ. In August, Chad Daybell was excommunicated from the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints due to the nature of his religious teachings and his involvement in the case. Following their arrests, prosecutors dropped the initial charges against Lori and instead charged her with obstruction or concealment of evidence concerning her children's remains. In July 2020, both Chad and Lori were indicted on charges of conspiracy to commit first-degree murder and grand theft by deception in connection to the deaths of Tylee, JJ, and Tammy Daybell. Lori faced additional charges related to the theft of her children's Social Security benefits, while Chad was charged with insurance fraud over Tammy's life insurance. Lori's bond was reduced after some charges were dropped, but Chad's remained at $1 million. In 2021, Lori was found incompetent to stand trial, leading to a delay in proceedings. However, she was later deemed competent after receiving mental health treatment. In 2023, Lori's trial began, and she was found guilty on all counts, receiving consecutive life sentences without the possibility of parole for the murders of her children and conspiracy to commit murder of Tammy Daybell. The judge stated that Lori had murdered her children to profit financially and had gone down a bizarre, religious rabbit hole to justify their killings. Chad Daybell's trial began in April 2024, where he faced potential death penalty charges. Prosecutors portrayed him as driven by sex, money, and power, while his defense argued that he was lured into the relationship by Lori and emphasized Alex Cox's violent history and protective role towards Lori. Lori was extradited to Arizona in November 2023 to face additional conspiracy charges, to which she pleaded not guilty. The cases against both Lori and Chad have garnered significant media attention, painting a grim picture of manipulation and murder under the guise of religious delusion. As we wrap up this harrowing case involving Chad Daybell and Lori Vallow Daybell, it's clear that what unfolded was nothing short of a nightmare, characterized by manipulation and loss. What do you think about the outcomes of this case? Feel free to leave your thoughts in the comments below, and if you're interested in delving into more chilling cases like this one, don't forget to subscribe.